All right, today's Thanksgiving Day, and a week from Monday, I'm leaving on my first trip to Lake Baccarac, Mexico, and I wanted to go through how I'm packing for this now. My plan is after I come back, hopefully I'll have a great trip, catch a lot of big fish, and it'll be something that I'll want to do again. And so hopefully that's the case. And if so, my plan will be to go kind of do another video and go through what I would have done differently. It seems like it's hard to find this information, and it's there's a lot of unknowns about making the trip. And although they have a tackle shop there, there's kind of a feeling that once you get there, if you don't have it, you better hope either it's in that little tackle shop or you're out of luck. You're going to have to figure out something else. So bringing reels, bringing all the tackle that I'm planning on using, not poles, going with Pro Bass Adventures, and they supply poles, so that's great for traveling. Don't have to worry about lugging poles. So my strategy here is this is going to be my check bag, and I'll have 2 carry-on bags, a laptop bag, and then a tackle bag that I'm going to carry on. Obviously, I'd like to carry on as much tackle as possible, in case my bag gets lost or something like that. My understanding is, however, that hooks probably aren't going to make it through security. So all my plastics, any bait items or weights or skirts or anything like that are going in my carry-on. Anything with hooks I've got here in my check bag. And so I got a luggage scale, and I've been weighing this, and I'm not fully done packing. I am just effectively fully done with tackle, but I'll be throwing some more clothes and stuff in here. But I didn't know what tackle weighed. And so with everything in here right now, I'm at 35 pounds. So 50 is the limit. I got plenty of room. I may end up, I could take some stuff out of my carry-on and put it in here. Might make it a little easier, wouldn't have as much to lug around. But on the other hand, then God forbid this bag is delayed or doesn't show up, I'd be out of those items. So that's something I'll figure out. But I'm going to end up throwing most of my clothes in this side. I will take clothes with me. Some clothes, really as much clothes as I can with me on my carry-on once again, in case my check bag has a problem. I usually never check a bag, so I can't remember the last time I checked a bag. 20 years ago. So anyway, I've got some fishing shirts in here. A couple pair of pants that I'm planning on wearing while fishing. I'm probably going to end up wearing one of these while I'm traveling. So a rain jacket. I don't expect it to rain there, but if it does, I'd like to have one. And I'll be adding clothes in here. But everything with hooks. I've got a Spro KGB 180 here. Never thrown one before. It was something I saw online that, they said they had pretty good success at Baccarac with that. So I'm bringing that. I've got a couple of, I think these are 4-inch Hercules from Z-Man. They've got some cool swim baits. I would have liked to have gotten maybe a couple more. But they're sold out in the 6-inch size and the 5-inch size. So I got one 6-inch before they sold out. So what I think that they're going to be biting on, I believe it'll be a swim bait bite. There's part of me that's hoping that's the case. I do like to throw a swim bait. I talked to Josh about a week ago maybe, and he said swim bait bite was good. He also said, I'm hoping you can see that pretty well. He also said they were catching them on Texas rigged Senkos, and the other one he said that they've caught some pretty good fish on, big ones, in the last short time period, which is something I've never thrown, is a floating worm on a free rig. So I have that stuff as well. So anyway, got a few boxes in here. We'll just go through these box by box. Some line. I have another. This is a 50-pound braid. I'm bringing 6. Well, you'll see the reels later, so we'll talk about those. 660 yards at 20-pound sniper. And the braid. For jigs, I really, from this company, Boss, and you'll see these. But anyway, what I've really been doing lately for jigs is throwing a skirted punch rig, essentially. That's why I don't have a lot of jigs, but I'm bringing a couple. My plan would be, if it's a jig bite, I will be throwing a skirted Texas rig. Peg the weight, throw a skirt on the weight. I can put any hook on it that I want, that's the part I really like about it. I can get a hook that works really good for me, keeps the trailer on it. But I've got a couple of football heads here. What are these? I think these are 3/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce. I have skirts for these. I can throw a skirt on here in whatever color I want. Throw those. Odd chatterbait that I found in my tackle and I threw in there. It's just kind of by itself. I got a few other chatterbaits in my boxes here. A couple of these big KVD square bills. I think this could be a player. I don't believe there's going to be a big deep crankbait bite, but I am bringing them just in case. But I'm thinking most of the bass will be in the 8 to 15, maybe even shower 5 to 15 foot range. So 10XD maybe, but that's not what I'm expecting to be the thing. But I am bringing some. So a couple of those big square bills, treble heads from 6 cents for swim baits. I had these, so I figured I'd bring them. 1 ouncers, 3/8 ounce. These are probably lighter than what I'll want. Probably 3/4 would be perfect, and I don't have those. Replacement hooks, KVD triple grips. Hooks, I'm sure, are going to be a focus. I have a hook sharpener as well. These Diesel Eye jig heads. These are, what size are these? I think, these are the 6. This is a 6/0. I do have some 8/0s as well. I also have there, you'll see, or in the other bag, you'll see swim baits. So, I prefer to throw a swim bait with a treble head, a cull shad, like a 6-inch cull shad. That's, in my fishing, that's what I typically throw. But we're going to a different place. They may fish differently. We may be trying to drag a swim bait on bottom. And I see them throwing a lot of these, so I'm definitely bringing those. That's that box. Okay, next box. This 6 cents bait, which is kind of a cross between like a jerk bait and a crankbait. number of lipless. I believe there could be a lipless bite. And I've heard that this color is a good color, this silver with a blue back. That's a 1 ounce. Another scattered chatterbait. So I've got some lipless in here, red-eye shads. Okay, in this box, I've also got some jerkbaits. I have heard of them getting on a jerkbait bite in Baccarac at times. Do I think that's going to be the deal while we're there? Probably not. Not expecting it to be a huge player. I think there's a decent chance I don't end up throwing these at all, but there's a lot of stuff here that it's kind of like you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I mean, also the trick here is, for me especially, I'm trying to guess what the fish are going to want at a lake I've never been to. So, you know, there's a lot of guessing going on here, and the plan is to bring a bunch of stuff that I don't end up using. I would rather bring a bunch of stuff that I don't use than have a bunch of stuff that I need that I didn't bring. But anyway, some of the Shimano jerkbaits I tried to throw in. These are a couple of the deeper divers. I think those are both Shimanos. And then some shallow diving jerkbait, Shimano. That's a Rapella, I believe. Yeah, Rapella. Another Shimano. So, and I have a flutter spoon. Doubt I'll throw it, but I'm bringing it. This is the 6 or 7 inch Nessie. This is a bait I had. I didn't buy it for this trip. I have thrown it. I've never caught one on it. I have had some followers though. And like I said, I think there's a good chance it's going to be a swim bait bite. I love throwing a swim bait. I typically throw a soft swim bait, Berkeley cull shad, and I also do have in here a Chapo, Berkeley Chapo, black one. I mean, the things I think they're going to be biting, swim baits, topwater. I think topwater's almost can almost count on it there from what I've heard, but it's going to be an hour and a half in the morning, and an hour and a half in the evening, and then the rest of the day you're probably going to throw other stuff. Okay, so that's that box. Well, let's go. This is a big one. Let's go through this is mostly terminal tackle. Hooks, more triple grips. Tokyo rig, not something I throw a lot of. I have thrown it a little bit, more replacement trebles, but it's something I've been told that they bite down there. Actually, when I talked to Josh Daniels, Josh is the owner of Pro Bass Adventures. The last update he gave me, he said they were catching them on, I don't know, maybe he didn't mention the Tokyo rig. I can't remember if he mentioned the Tokyo rig or not, but he did mention the free rig, which I've never thrown. Some scrounger heads. I've heard at times they smash them down there on these. I don't know if they're going to be a player. You could put a swim bait on there, so kind of going back to my thought that there's going to be a swim bait bite. There could be an unrigged swim bait body end up on here. More replacement trebles. That's heavier than it looks. Pair of split ring pliers. These are beefy ones. I think I got another set in here. These are really probably only work for really big, like 10XD split rings. So this is my hook of choice. And as I talked before, if I'm going to be throwing a, if it's jig bite, if I can, I would like to throw a pegged Texas rig weight that's got a kind of a flange on it so you can put a skirt on it. And then one of these hooks, and you'll have the skirt on the weight and whatever bait trailer you want to put on there. This is my favorite hook for that. Owner Twist Lock 5/0, so I think there's 15 of them right here. I think I do have more in here somewhere, but and more of these diesel eye jig heads. I really think the 3/4 ounce is probably going to be the go-to, but I did buy some heavier weights just in case. That's a 2 ounce. I guess I bought 4 2 ounces. I don't know why I bought 4 of those. 2 probably would have been it. I don't think I'm going to end up throwing it, but whatever. 3 ounce. I only bought 2 of the 3 ounce, so that was a good idea. I don't think I'll end up throwing that probably. A couple of the 1.5 ounces. So pretty well set up on jig heads. More scrounger heads. These are 1 ounce. The other ones were 3/4 ounce. There's my hook sharpener. Did we already? No, these are more owner hooks. Yeah, so those were 15. That's 18, 19, 20, 23 owner 5/0. I am bringing an umbrella head or a umbrella rig. I may end up throwing it. I may not. I do think they get on the bite there. I've seen guys catch multiples out there, but I'm bringing an umbrella rig. I think I have the rest of it in my carry-on, but these I need to bring with me because they have hooks. Hook sharpener. This was one of the things I was told to bring by Matt Pangrac. Actually said, hook sharpener was key. He's been a few times. This is his trip. This is a Bass Talk Live trip I'm going on. He said definitely bring a hook sharpener. He said he spent a fair amount of time every evening sharpening hooks and getting ready for the next day. So I might not have brought it had he not mentioned it. More Tokyo rigs, more replacement trebles, shaky heads. I've got 3 3/4 ounce. These are big ones, a 9/0 hook. So for a big worm. 3 3/8 ounce 9/0, 1/2 ounce 9/0 hook. Some smaller shaky heads, dirty jigs. This is a 1/4 ounce. So I have seen them throw them on all sorts of different weights. This would maybe be, the bite was a little tougher on a Senko. These I kind of imagine like a big 12-inch worm or something like that. Tokyo rigged flashy swimmers. This was another one that I was kind of told, hey, for those unrigged swim baits, sometimes the adding that flash that's the way to go. So I'm bringing those. What I've got 6 of those all together. 3/8 ounce. They're all 3/8 ounce. 6/0 hook and 8/0 hooks. Split rings. In case. I hope I don't need them. I think maybe the only way I'd need them is if I can't imagine a fish pulling a split ring open, but I've heard of it happening. 3/16 ounce shaky heads, more shaky heads. I think I'm covered on shaky heads. 3/16 1/4 ounce. Carolina rig is not something. I mean, I've thrown a little bit. I've never had a bunch of success, but I've heard of people catching them there, so I'm bringing those. 1 ounce, 3/4 ounce. I got 4 3/4 ounce, and I got on 1 ounce. Here's 3 more. Owner 5/0. Okay, my camera shut off for a second, so hope I'm getting all this. So this is a more standard split ring plier. The other one was super beefy. That guy, this one will work on little split rings like that. I had this sitting in my tackle box, a 1 ounce tungsten football swing head, so I'm throwing this in here. Here's these hooks. Honestly, these Bass Pro hooks, the thing I do really like about them, I have had good luck with these as far as once I hook a fish, these seem to keep fish on really good. I've got 5/0, I've got 20 here. I think these are 3/0. These are worm hooks. Had these and I figured I'd throw them in. The reason I prefer the owner is with the twist lock. Keeps your bait on there so much better. These I find a lot of times you're bringing them in and your bait's fouled up. So, but I had them. I figured I'd bring them. Now let's see if I can get this all back in here. Those definitely are going to have to lay down. And I had a bunch of stuff stuffed in here. Be looking for those pliers. I won't be able to find them because they're stuffed under all this stuff. Okay, that's this box. Let's take this out for now. Okay, 2 boxes down. Box number 3, topwater, Choppos. S-Waver, I've had this for a while. I have thrown it. I've never caught one on it, but Baccarac's probably a good place for it, so threw that in there. What's this? 6XD, that barfish color. I like that color a lot, and somebody did recommend it for Baccarac, so it's one I throw around here. I do like this color. A couple, for whatever reason, I'm not a big chatterbait guy. I've caught a couple of good fish on chatterbait. I've never been on a good, solid chatterbait bite. I've just like, the ones I've caught have been onesie twosies, and some of them have been good. But anyway, my chatterbaits, for whatever reason, are spread out through all my tackle. But here's 2 more. That's a jackhammer. They're both jackhammers, so... I got a bunch of spinnerbaits in here. I'm not going to go through all of them. Spinnerbait bite is another thing that I think could definitely be a possibility. I've got in here 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce, and even some heavier ones, but I'm loaded on spinnerbaits. I can't imagine, like, look at that one. That's huge. That's like a 2.5 ouncer. So anyway, white and chartreuse. What do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 big spinnerbaits there. Probably at least 7 more in here. So spinnerbaits were covered. You know, what I was told, the whites, the chartreuses, those were all good colors. And I think 3/4 ounce and up. So that's what I got. I'm covered on spinnerbaits. I'd be okay with a crankbait bite. I don't know if I expect it or not. I'd love it. I mean, I do love a 10XD bite. Although fishing for 5 days, dragging that thing, that'll wear you out. But 10XD bite it's one I do enjoy it. So I don't think it's going to be a 10XD bite. If it is a crankbait bite, I think it'll be more like a DT10 bite, which I've got a few of those. 1, I think that's a 10, 2, 3. I've heard somebody recommended this bomber in this color, so I've got 3 of those. Another DT10. What is this? Oh, that's another one of those bombers. That is a nice looking bait. It was pretty inexpensive too. So, and I do another one of those big square bills, KVD. Two more of those big KVD square bills, and I've got 1, 2, 3 10XDs. I might actually throw one more in. I probably will end up throwing it. I just don't think it'll be the day in, day out. Then topwater. I think I've got some poppers in here, so we'll talk about that. But these little poppers, they like. This is one I had that I've thrown, that I've caught fish on, so I threw this in here. 8XD crankbait. I might try to throw in a couple more 8XDs, 8.6s, that kind of stuff. But big KVD walking bait. This bait I didn't even know was around, and I saw a video of guys catching them in Baccarac on them. So I got 3 of these chugging spooks from Heddon. The bone color is the one underneath. I'm definitely probably going to throw those topwater. That's a neat bait that I've never heard of before. And then your traditional spook, I've got 3 of those, kind of silver bone colors. I'll probably throw all of these topwaters at some point. But once again, I don't imagine it being an all-day thing. It's going to be a little while in the morning, a little while in the evening. But I have heard of guys catching some of their best fish in those little windows. So this is a new bait to me, fairly new to market. The Screaming Chopo. I've caught a ton of good fish on a Chopo. But it does seem like the fish have figured that sound out or whatever. The bite was so good for so long, and then man, did it fall off a cliff. So a little bit of a different sound. These kind of came out while I was shopping for baits, so I got 3 of those too. So I think I covered everything in here. Not bringing, I mean, it's not a ton of crankbaits. Like, I'm not expecting to be throwing a crankbait. If I thought it was going to be a crankbait, I'd be bringing significantly more, believe it or not. I've got 3 of these bombers, so if that's the thing, and you could break off 2 in a day, and you got 1 left with 4 days to fish. If the crankbait's the deal, I'll be a little nervous because although it looks like a good number, there's only 3 of the bombers, and these are different depth range. There's only 3 of the 10s, so if they're hitting that at that depth, you got 3. I mean, you could imagine that you could lose 3 in a day, and then you'd be cooked. Anyway, that's that box. Then a bunch of stuff in here that I just left in boxes. Obviously, I bought all of this stuff for the trip. Yeah, that's right. It's a little excessive, I know. Not all of it, actually. I take that back. We talked about the line. This one I have fished before. I have not caught one on this. The 8-inch cull shad, but definitely bringing that. This is the right lake for that. And then I know I've said it a few times, but the cull shad is my go-to, and so I've got 5 of them. I mean, that's excessive, I guess, probably. But that is one I do think cull shad could be the thing. And that's 1 a day for me. That's a pretty durable bait. I like it much better than the mag draft. The mag draft, I've had a problem with those coming apart, the pre-rigged mag drafts. I have line through them, but it's just more work. This one comes and it's put together well. And if I hook a fish, I'm confident that I'm not going to lose a fish because the bait comes apart. The way the mag draft, the way the eye is set up and the hook, that can actually pull out, when you catch so many fish on it and you beat up the body, you can actually pull the eye out, and then it just separates from the bait. It separates from the hook, and I've had it happen. So I'm not a big fan of that. And I feel like the cull shad, I feel like it's got a wider range of retrieves where it'll run correctly. The mag draft blows out at a lower speed. All right, so that's those pre-rigged swim baits. I am bringing chatterbaits. Once again, not my favorite bait to throw. That could change. Just haven't ever been on a real consistent, solid chatterbait bite. Some square bills that I got recommended. Spro, a Ruku Shad 75. Bought that a few weeks ago, and they are getting blown out right now for Black Friday. But that's okay. I didn't want to be waiting last minute to get these baits in, so never thrown it. Looking forward to it. So here's an A-rig, and it doesn't have hooks in it. The heads are in. This one I could throw in my other. Oh, this does have hooks in it. Okay, so this needs to stay in here. I bought this for the trip. I bought 2 of these. I've seen video of people smashing them down there on this. Burrito baits, bull shad. What are these? 6 and 5. This is a 5-inch. This is a 6-inch. So these swim baits are a little bit different than these. This will be a deeper bait, deeper in the water column, maybe even on the bottom. And obviously you have that. I definitely prefer, like, to hook a fish. I prefer the treble hooks. I've had better luck with them. I've had some fish. I have fished similar baits to the cull shad with a single hook, and I've had some fish throw them that, man, when I saw it, I was like, man, I think if I would have had a treble, I would have gotten that fish in. But anyway, so the 2 bull shad. What else do I have in here? This is a bait I've not thrown. Another swim bait, Chop Block 8. Everybody says it's a great bait. So we're going to try that. 2 big jerk baits in case, once again, it ends up being a jerk bait bite. I've never thrown a mega bass before. I know they're kind of the gold standard. But I ordered this. I actually ordered one of these. This Canada. Is that how you say that? Anyway, when I got the one, I was like, oh, I like that bait, so I ordered another one. And then I do have standard size mega bass. Once again, have not thrown these. Bought them for this trip. Vision 110 and then 110 plus 1 junior. So that's a deeper, it's a little smaller body as you can see, but it's a deeper diver. Oh, these poppers. So this is the kind of popper, believe it or not. These 2. These are famous. These are, I think they're called, these are Rio Ricos. The name of the company that makes them, I thought it was like Laura Linda or something like that. Anyway, these are famous on Baccarac and El Salto. But, I mean, you just wouldn't expect that you're throwing this little tiny bait. It's light. I'm not bringing a spinning reel. So, you know, I'm going to have to be able to throw this on a casting reel with 50-pound braid on it. But these were not cheap. I think these were like $20-some, $24 each, something like that. So I got 2 of these, and then this was my kind of generic version, the KVD Splash. So I've got those 3. Here's another kind of similar topwater. I think Pengrac said he caught him on these while he was there, the Rebel Super Pop-R. So I bought that based on his recommendation. Another chatterbait. So I bought the big blade jackhammers and then one of the standard jackhammers. More lipless that I was recommended. This Lucky Craft, never thrown this bait before. The LV 500 and some red eye shad. 3 red eye shad. Those 2 guys. This was the bait I talked about, I think, earlier. This is the, I think this is the 6-inch. Am I wrong? Yeah, 6-inch, says right there. 1 ounce, 6-inch. I believe Josh was catching some giants on Baccarac on these. I would have probably bought at least 3 of them, but this was the only one available, and now they're sold out everywhere. So this is the other thing is I bought a lot of Z-Man stuff because of the Elastec. I mean, you're probably looking at the tackle I'm bringing saying you're bringing a ton of tackle, but in my head, you can't bring a lot of tackle, and you need your stuff to last. So this Elastec stuff, I don't know if you've ever thrown it, you know how tough it is. I mean, you can stretch it and pull it. So I'm hoping, I'm hoping that the Elastec stuff, the baits will just last a long time, and I'll be able to get by and catch multiple fish on all of these baits. So I would have bought couple more of these. I may still if they pop up somewhere, but I can't remember what this cost. I'm gonna make it up. 15 bucks, 10 bucks compared to this guy. These were not cheap. I don't even want to. These are like 40 bucks each or something like that. I mean, you can look them up. They're not inexpensive. Okay. And then what? A couple more top waters. Somebody, I think Pangrac mentioned this color of spook, so I grabbed it. This chug bug, I think I just had this in my tackle box. I've never thrown it. Obviously, it's still in the box, but it looked like something they might bite there. So that's my carry-on. Or no, I'm sorry, that's my check bag. Okay. So once again, this was part of my strategy. I don't know for sure. I actually do think some people have carried hooks on, but I'd love to. But man, you check this bag, and then you go through security, and they stop you, and they say, hey, you can't carry those hooks on. What do you do? I mean, you're screwed. I don't even know if you can go back and say, hey, I need to get back to my check bag and try to pull stuff out of your carry-on, throw it in your check bag. Man, as much as I don't want to risk this checked luggage not showing up, I also don't want to risk a big hassle when I'm trying to fly out there and then I don't know what you do if you can't get back. If you can't get back to your check bag, what are you going to do? Throw that stuff out? No way. All right, so this is the bag. I purchased this for the trip. By the dimensions, it's the right size to carry on. I can't remember. I think it holds maybe 6, 8 of those kind of standard size tackle boxes. I have a bigger one that holds 12. But my plan with this one was to carry it on. I'm going to have just a small laptop bag to put under my seat, and this is going to be my carry-on. So, markers. You know what? I don't know how this video looks, but put the light on. Markers. So, I talked about this a little bit. This is what I throw for a jig. This is a skirted Texas rig. I really like that color. I tried to order more of those skirts. I've caught biggest bass I caught in Ohio, 7.9 pounder this year, and I also caught a 7.6, both on this bait right here. So I'm a fan. But this is for jigs. This is what I plan on throwing. I have a bunch of skirts. I have a bunch of these weights, black and blue. I think that skirt's called bluegill. I really like that color. And they were, I have some of them, but once again sold out. So I got what I could. So I've got these packed soft baits. So actually, I'm going to sit down for these. I'm a fan of these. These are the biggest flukes I know that you can buy. The Bass Pro jerk shad. These are 7-inch. So this is smoking shad color. This is they call this Houdini, kind of a bass, baby bass type color. So I'm a fan of this bait. What do I got? 1, 2, 3. I got 5 there. I got 2 in there. Another bait I like is the Zoom Magnum Super Fluke. This is in baby bass. I think I got 4 in these. Some of these packs are opened. I just grabbed what I had left. This is another open pack. 3 of these green pumpkin Super Flukes. What's this? This is I think this is an open bag. I think there's 3 in here. Jerk shad. This feels like a full pack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think in there. Baby bass. Magnum Super Fluke baby bass. Black and this is like a green pumpkin red flake. 7-inch Magnum Super Fluke green pumpkin. Baby bass. Green pumpkin. You know what I know about Baccarac? I think green pumpkin's a really good color from what I hear. I did bring some black and blue stuff as well, but what do I have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 bags. Not all of them full, but I mean, I could definitely see myself catching some bass on a fluke. Once again, I'm not counting on it being, you know, kind of the go-to bait while I'm there. But, you know, you kind of look at this and go, hey, if you get there on day 1 and you figure out, like, this is the way to catch them, you got 5 days. How many flukes could you go through in 5 days, especially if you're catching a lot? I saw a video of a guy talking about, I think he was talking about El Salto, similar lake not far away from Baccarac, and he said he went in December, which is when I'm going, and it was the toughest, one of the toughest bites they'd ever had while they were there. Tough for there is still a pretty good bite, but one of the only things they could catch him on was Senkos, and he said you need to have 50 Senkos a day. 250 Senkos, I'm not bringing 250 Senkos. I can't do it. So, anyway. All right. Magnum 8-inch lizards by Zoom. Another bait that I think could play. I don't think it's going to be the thing, and if it is, I'll probably run out of them, but I would think if they're going to bite a lizard, you could probably catch them on a fluke. You could probably catch them on a worm and vice versa. But so some of these bags are open. This one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 in it. Green pumpkin, black grape. I think these were ones I had, open bags. There's probably 4 in there. And I did buy some. This is a new bag, obviously. Watermelon red. So that's 3 bags, 4 bags of lizards. June bug. 5 bags of lizards, watermelon red, 6 bags of lizards, red bug, 9 per package, and I know these aren't all full, but you know, that would be, you know, what, 54. So I mean, if it was the deal, you know, you'd have 10 a day, 12 a day that you could throw, and I mean, if they're biting these baits are not durable. Sometimes these are good for one fish. So that's kind of the position I feel like I'm in. Spunk shad, 4.5. That's a chatterbait trailer. Same with this. I prefer this because it's the Elastec stuff, so I would think this will hold up longer. Razor shad, what do you get? 4 in a pack. And that's what I have these for. These are all to throw as a chatterbait trailer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags of chatterbait trailers. So. All right, so okay, I know what I got here. I've got 5 bags of black and blue 5-inch pit bosses and 5 bags of green pumpkin black and blue pit bosses. It's my go-to trailer for a jig. I really like a pit boss. It's versatile. So if I'm throwing a jig, that's what I'll start with as a trailer. Also know they throw Senkos as trailers. So there you go, Senkos. This is a bag I had. I think I've got about 20 in here. These are green pumpkin. Gander Mountain's been closed for a while, so you know I've had this for a while. These are, I don't know, standard size. I don't know, 5-inch, whatever. So I got those. I figured I'd bring them. But my real strategy with the Senkos, do I think I'll catch fish on a Senko? Probably. If the bite's tough, the Senko could be the day in, the day out deal. So trying to bring a lot of Senkos. And the other thing I'm doing here is the Elastec. These should be, pretty durable. So these are 6-inch giant TRD. These are green pumpkin. I think I've maybe got 10 bags of these. They're 6 in a pack, so 60. 1, 2, they're probably not all here. 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of the green pumpkin. 7, 8 bags of green pumpkin with 6 in a pack. And then here's 2 bags of black and blue. So that's 11 bags altogether. I may have more of these. Like, this is something that, if the bite's a little finicky, I feel like you could be throwing these possibly all day, every day. So, I'm hoping these Elastecs, I'll be able to catch multiple fish on them. If that happens, I've got a couple of O-rings in case we end up wacky rigging Senkos, which I would think more likely you're going to throw them Texas rig, that's my understanding. Or on that free rig. But, okay, so that's the outside of that. Do I have, oh yeah, I do have stuff back here. Oh, okay, so I'm probably not going to pull all of these out, but I'll pull out a couple. So these are my skirts. That's that skirt color, that bluegill color that I like so much. If you fish the same lakes I do, don't throw that. I don't want to have to compete with you. But, and then this is my setup kind of for a jig. But the other thing that's cool about this, I do have some Texas rig weights, but these can kind of serve double duty. If I want to throw something Texas rig, like a worm, Senko, I could just throw that as a Texas rig weight and just not put a skirt on it. Or maybe you want a skirt on a Senko. It's not what you normally do, but that might be the deal. Who knows? So I've got a good number of these. You can see, I think personally, I think like 3/4 ounce and maybe 1 ounce. I like a heavy weight. I'd like to get to the bottom quick. So I probably have 20 of these in 3/4 ounce. I maybe have like 10 in an ounce, and then maybe like 5 or 6 each in the lower weights. So, and I got a bunch of different skirts, mostly black and blue and green pumpkin. I'm not going crazy on colors. I'm just sticking to the basics on colors because I can't bring numbers of stuff in every single different color. Okay. All right, so in here I have, these are free rig weights. So that's a 3/8 ounce, that's a 1/2 ounce, and I've also got Texas rig weights, 3/8 ounce. I've got a pretty good number of these. 1/16 ounce, I've heard of when it's tough, them throwing Senko on this, on a 1/16, so I have those. And I've got 3/8 ounce, and I've got a pretty good number of these to where I feel like if I had to throw that stuff all day, every day, I got them. Okay. T-shirt, sunglasses, GoPro. I've got the GoPro I'm using right now is one of I bought off eBay, so I'm kind of testing it. But this is just an extra. I've got the chest strap on now, obviously. 5-inch diesel minnow. I don't know, what do we got here? Four of these. So the 5-inch diesel. This I could throw on one of those treble heads. Put them in there, and you could put like a treble hook back here, or more likely on a lead head. Those jig heads. I'll have to see if I brought anything that's less than 3/4 of an ounce. I definitely should. So, okay, so more. These are a little different. These are the Mag Fatty Z's. I saw this is something that they carry in the tackle shop there. So obviously must be a pretty good bait for Baccarac. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags of these. I think I'm good on Senkos. And once again, you got to remember those are Elastec. Floating worms. This is not a technique I'm familiar with, but they say they're catching them on these. So you would put that one of those free rig weights, hook, put this on there, and then obviously that weight's going to pull it to the bottom, but I imagine the worm's kind of floating out behind it. So I got a good number of these in green pumpkin. You know, the last update I got from Josh is they caught some big ones on these, so I'm bringing them. 12-inch power worm, black and blue. Somebody else told me that this was a good bait for Baccarac online. I saw that, so I got a couple packs of those. More floating worms. I think I'm good on the floating worms. Reel. This is a Lose Super Duty. This is a beefy reel. This will be a good for heavy swim baits and stuff. I got 20-pound fluoro on that. Fishing gloves was another thing I was told to be sure to bring because your hands get murdered. Another 12-inch power worm. Umbrella rig. That I need to throw in my carry-on. All right. Let's go through these bag by bag. Old Monster green pumpkin. These are a pretty good size worm. 9-pack. I got 2 packs of the green pumpkin. This is another Old Monster. Green pumpkin candy red. This Gambler 13-inch ribbon tail worm. Caught my PB on this. 10 pounds, 11 ounces in Tennessee on a black worm like this, so I got a soft spot. So I got a couple in green pumpkin because they said that's a hot color. More assorted worms. Let's see what I got in here. 7-inch speed Senko. I bought these for a trip I was supposed to go on to Florida that I never went on, but I'm bringing those. Kind of don't want to pull these out, but Rage cutter worms, black and blue. This is all stuff I had that I'm just throwing in here. 10-inch thumper, black and blue. These I bought for the only other time I've been to Mexico, Sugar Lake, and I did catch a good one. It was like 6.5, maybe a little more than that, on this in Mexico at Sugar Lake with broken braid guide service. If you ever want to go to Sugar Lake, I highly recommend them. I'd like to go back. Plum, monster worm. I think that's like a green pumpkin, red flake. So some of these were baits I bought. Well, those Strike Kings I bought for Mexico, and some of these other ones I bought for the trip to Florida, but had them. So figured if I have room for them, I'll throw them in. And believe it or not, I got more worms. These are 10-inch Okie worm floater. I bought these, I think, for Florida, but I think I bought another pack. I think I got 2 packs of these, but I will throw these. If we're throwing floating worms, I like a big bait. I'll throw this. Yeah, here's another pack. So I got 2 packs of those. This was obviously just something I had in my 10-inch that I had an open pack. Also an open pack 8-inch Kingtail power bait. That's the bait I caught my PB on in Tennessee. The Gambler ribbon tail 13-inch in black. This was a bait I bought for Florida. Obviously it's opened. I've thrown some of these. Reaction Innovations. This is a big, I don't know what they call that, like a cut tail worm or something. Machete 7.1. So part of me wants to say, I think I'm covered on worms, and hopefully I am, but then on the other hand, hopefully I'm not. Hopefully I catch so many bass that, you know, I have to go to the tackle shop and buy more. But then once again, part of my strategy with that is to get as much of this Elastec stuff as possible, since I know it's durable. All right. Swim baits, Diesel Minnow, 7-inch 3-pack, 7-inch 3-pack, 6-inch 3-pack, 5-inch 4-pack, 4-inch 5-pack. I might throw those on the A-rigs. 4-inch 5-pack. And then I have a couple of whales in here. I've heard this is a good bait. I've never thrown it. These are 3 of the 6-inch and 6 of the 4.5-inch. So pretty good on swim baits. All right, reels. Shimano 71XG with braid. Like I said, I'm not bringing a spinning reel, so if I have to throw anything light, reason I have braid on this, because some of those light poppers, this casts a light bait pretty well for a casting reel, so I've already got braid on that. The Abu, this is a pretty good reel. I left a couple of these with no line on them because I may end up throwing, I'm not sure. I want to have no line on there, so if I need another reel with braid, I have it. I can just put it on. You know, so I left these 2 with no line on it. Abu, what is this? The Revo. This is a pretty good reel. And the Tatula, the Daiwa. I like this reel as well. I like all of them. And then 2 Corrados. These are kind of my workhorses day in, day out. I got them spooled up with 20-pound fluoro. 8-to-1 gear ratio, they're ready to go. Okay. Bodegas, I bought these. I've thrown them once, maybe, never caught anything on them. But I think they'll be a good Mexico bait on the back of a skirted trailer or a jig. Bellows, I've thrown these a little bit, not much, but I think that has the potential to be a good Mexico bait. All right. More of these Senko type baits. Giant TRD, green pumpkin. Power bait, obviously an open pack, and another giant TRD in a different color. So, and then swim baits. Green pumpkin, 5.8 inch. I really like the white, the pearl color, so that's what most of it is. 4.8 inch in white, 5.75 inch in green, 6.8 inch and 7.8 inch. So rigging these, I'm not sure. I could definitely do a treble head. I did order some 8-aught lead heads, so that'll be my choices there. I don't know, I just probably could throw it on a 6-aught lead head, but I think an 8 would probably be better. And then a little bit of a different color, sexy shad. Man, I don't know. I'm very partial to the white, but that doesn't mean that in Mexico the deal's different. I mean, I like the white because, in my experience, that's worked the best for me. But I've never been to this lake before, so trying to keep an open mind. And that's it. That's probably way overboard. But once again, I'd rather have a bunch of stuff that I don't use than not have a bunch of stuff that I wish I had. So that's what I'm bringing to Mexico. Hopefully we're gonna smash them, and I'm gonna want to go back. And if that's the case, I'll definitely do a follow-up and say, hey, if I had to do it over again, here's what I'd bring. So thanks for watching.